trying to remain as optimistic as possible that the Dodgers still have a really good chance of winning the World Series for as long as possible, with the thought process being Mookie's going to come back. Yamamoto's going to come back. Yeah, Glasnow is an ace. They made a trade for Flaherty. They're going to score enough runs that they will figure out the shortstop problem, that they have lots of options. Max Muncy will probably return at some point, and even if he doesn't, you have viable alternatives at third base, that all of these pieces were going to come together at the right time, and the Dodgers would go into the postseason with a real opportunity to win their first World Series championship in a 162-game season since 1988. I really thought that was a realistic possibility. I don't think they can anymore. I don't think the Dodgers can win the World Series this year for one simple reason. Their bullpen is terrible. Tell me who comes out of that bullpen. And I'm not saying that one of these guys can't have a good night. They can. Right? Can Blake Trinan get through an inning clean? Of course he can. Can Evan Phillips have a good inning? Of course he can. Daniel Hudson, Michael Kopech has looked pretty good so far. But here's what you're asking them to do. In conjunction with their starting pitching. In a playoff series, if I told you right now that your starter's going to give you 5 innings every night and give up a run or two, you going to take that? I think you got to,
sure.
Right?
Sure.
Maybe with the exception of Glasnow, you might want a little bit more from him. If Yamamoto comes back, maybe you want a little. But you're not talking about these guys pitching 8 innings. You're just not. It's just not. It doesn't exist in modern baseball much anywhere, and it really doesn't exist on this roster. That's not what they do. So what you're asking for is a bullpen to cover the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. That's 4 innings. That's half the game. A bunch of times in a row.
Against really good teams.
Against really good teams. And their teams have, and specifically the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Phillies have constructed bullpens that once they get past the 6th inning, you're in deep trouble because they can run out multiple guys where if you do score against them, it's pretty surprising. They don't give up a ton of runs, right? When the Phillies start running Strahm and Estevez and just one guy after the other, we haven't even gotten to the 8th inning and those guys are coming in to pitch these games, right? The Dodgers right now, when Blake Trinan comes in, and I know he's down at the moment, are you loving it? I don't think so. Joe Kelly has really struggled this season. He does not look like the guy that we've seen previously. He's walking a bunch of guys, and he had a meltdown last night. Alex Vezzi has probably been their best guy most consistently. He going to pitch the 9th inning? No. Mm-hmm. Daniel Hudson has been okay more often than not, but again, it's not a lockdown, forget about it. Gratterall's hurt. Honeywell's all over the map. Who pitches the 6th, 7th, and 8th, 9th inning on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, and then on Friday? You're not going to get a wall of lights-out innings from game to game to game from this bullpen, and there's no help coming. Mm-hmm. There isn't like you got guys in the minor leagues. We're post-trade deadline. There is no thing that's coming up next. I don't think – I'd love to be wrong, but this is the first time all season. I looked at that last night, and it's just been stacking and stacking and stacking. There are no good bullpen options, and you're going to have to cover 4 innings almost every single night. It's undoable. What do you want?
I was waiting for the clip to end. That's the one clip. The second clip is, why don't you just do it now?
This is the end.
Yeah, look. I have a scenario where that's not going to be your problem.
You said they're not going to win the World Series.
They're not.
Do it right
They're
now.
not. No,
Join me.
right
you and I put our hands together on the mallet. Because you said you don't believe they're going to win the World Series.
I don't.
So what's the point? He should be fired then, right? By Mason's accounts, he feels if he doesn't win the World Series, he should be gone.
They might not make the playoffs, Chris.
What is the difference?
Wait a minute. You're going to say now they're not going to make the playoffs?
I'm not gonna, I don't think. I think
this is the greatest heel turn ever.
Let's say
Travis, who defends the Dodgers for everything.
Let's say this. We had this conversation about a week ago. I think they were playing the Padres at the time, and they still had a comfortable lead. And I was telling you, only because I'm watching every wild card team out there, because the Padres are in the thick of it. If it becomes a divisional race, it's more than just a divisional race, because every team that's within a couple games of each other and making the walkout. I don't think this is going to happen to the Dodgers.
But it could.
If the Dodgers don't win the division, and by the way, right now it's 3 games between Arizona, San Diego, and the Dodgers. They're 3 games back. I know Padres have a tiebreaker on the Dodgers. But if they don't win the division, it means they're in a wild card race with all these other teams that are fighting for it.
But I thought
I'm not
Kershaw
telling you
had
that's
his best performance the other night when he put 3 men on base in the 5th inning.
He did.
And
That was his.
and what
Up
the
to this point, that was his.
and that blew it open.
Here's what's
and of
coming.
course, then the
performance.
bullpen did what the bullpen does.
So here's why I want to finish the thought. The Dodgers are going to make the playoffs. I give them a 90.
You just said they may not.
Hold on. Let me finish.
No, we are
Let
going
me
to go
finish.
JR style on this.
what?
We're going in the jungle.
Stop. Here's what they have left. They've got, I'd say, a 95% chance of making the playoffs. But that's not the 100 that it's been all year long.
Before the year started,
They
it
have
was
a
100.
3-game lead on Arizona. They have a 3-game lead on the Padres. The last wild card team today is the Atlanta Braves. They got a 5-game lead on them. Okay, that's with a month and 2/3 to go.
And they're
okay. Here's
they've been
what's
losing.
coming up. They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. They've got the Pirates. They've got the Brewers. They've got the Cardinals, Mariners, Rays, Orioles, Arizona. All in a row. They don't play a bad team until they play the Angels on September 3rd. They don't play one bad team in that stretch. They don't have a bullpen that can get through an inning or 2, much less 4 or 5. If they go significantly cold, I'm not talking the 500 they've been for 2 months. Let's say they play 400 baseball, okay, for the next 3-4 weeks. They could
probably
miss the
don't win the
playoffs.
division.
They almost certainly don't win the division if they do that. There's no help coming. This is what they have. I'm talking on the mound, right? In the bullpen. There is no cavalry that shows up.
I will
this
say
is
this,
what they have.
I will say this. Chris's favorite guy, Dave Roberts, over there. There's a little bit, if you hear some of his quotes from yesterday as well, if you hear, I get the frustration of that game, but to me it feels like he's not talking about one game and one play. He's not. I'm sure there's a ton of pressure that Dave Roberts is feeling right now because for the first time in how long he's in an actual division race. I don't even care about the division race against the Giants. Giants won 106 games, so it's like, all right, well, what kind of division race is that? It's the first time he's feeling heat.
I know you have what's up, fool, whatever it is, coming up. I'm just going to leave this in here for you when you talk to Dave Roberts.
I think What's Up, Fool is on